Hi guys, so today we're going to be doing the remainder and factor theorems. Okay? So we're going to start with synthetic substitution. So we can use synthetic division to find the value of a function, right? So considering the polynomial function f of a equals 4a squared minus 3a plus 6, okay? And let's say we divide the polynomial by a minus 2, right? Whether we use long division or synthetic division. Okay, and what we can do is we can compare the remainder, which was 16, okay, with f of 2. So f of 2 equals, so we're replacing a with 2. Right? So this gives us 2 squares 4, 4 times 4 is 16, 3 times 2, 6 here, so negative 6 plus 6. And this gives us 16, okay, which is the same as the remainders. And so what you notice is that the value of f of 2 is the same as the remainder when the polynomial is divided by a minus 2, and this illustrates the remainder theorem. If a polynomial, f of x, is divided by x minus a, the remainder is the constant for f of a. Okay? And so when synthetic division is used to evaluate a function, we call that synthetic substitution. Okay? And that takes us to our first example. So if f of x equals 2x to the fourth minus 5x squared plus 8x minus 7, we're going to find f of 6. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take our coefficients. So 2 for x to the fourth. There's nothing for x cubed, so we're going to put a placeholder of 0 here. And after x cubed is x squared, so that's negative 5x squared. Then it's 8x, and then it's our constant. Okay? We want to find f of 6, so we're going to put 6 here. And we're going to drop it. So drop 2. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 plus 0 is 12. 6 times 12 is 72. 72 minus 5 is 67. 67 times 6 is 402. 402 plus 8 is 410. And then 410 times 6 is 2,460. And then we add that to a minus 7. That gives us 2,453. And so, based on this, we believe that f of 6 is 2,453, right? But let's check it, right? Let's say, does this actually work? Right? So let's check it with f of 6 by directly plugging it in. Replacing all of my x's with 6. Okay. 6 to the fourth is 1,296, and then times 2. This gives us 2,592. Okay. 6 squared we know is 36. 36 times that negative 5 is a negative 180. Okay. 8 times 6 is 48, and then minus 7. So let's combine that. 2,592 minus 180 plus 48 minus 7 gives us 2,453, and so it checks out. Okay? So why don't you do CYP1A, and once you're done, come check your answer. Okay, you should have gotten 19. If you got that, you can move on to the next part. If not, here is your explanation. Okay. So we're using synthetic substitution. I'm going to use each of my coefficients to set it up. So 3x cubed, negative 6x squared, 1x, and then my constant negative 11. Since I'm finding f of 3, I'm putting 3 here. Okay. Drop down this 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Negative 6 plus 9 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 plus 9 is 10. 3 times 10 is 30. Negative 11 plus 30 is 19. This is my remainder, so f of 3 equals 19. And there you go. Okay. So the synthetic division below shows that the quotient of x to the fourth plus x cubed minus 17x squared minus 20x plus 32, if we divide it by x minus 4, right, this would give me x cubed plus 5x squared plus 3x minus 8. Right? When we divide a polynomial by one of its binomial factors, the quotient, what is left over here, is known as the depressed polynomial, right? Because note, it went from x to the fourth to now x cubed. And so forth. So from the results of the division, and by using the remainder theorem, we can make the following statement. Right? Quotient times the divisor plus our remainder will give us our dividend. Since the remainder is 0, f of 4 also would be 0. Okay. That means that x minus 4 is a factor of my original polynomial, and this illustrates the factor theorem, which is a special case of the remainder theorem. So the binomial x minus a is going to be a factor of our polynomial if f of a equals 0, meaning if there is no remainder. Right? So this takes us to our next example, which is example 2, and we're going to show that x plus 3 is a factor of x cubed plus 6x squared minus x minus 30, and then we're going to find the remaining factors. Okay, so if this is a factor, my remainder should be a 0, right? So let's start by setting it up. So it's 1x cubed, 6x squared, negative 1x minus 30, right? And since it's x plus 3, that means r is negative 3. Okay. And let's do synthetic substitution. We're going to drop our 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. 6 plus negative 3 is 3. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Negative 1 plus negative 9 is negative 10. And negative 3 times negative 10 is 30. And so negative 30 plus 30 is 0. I don't have any remainder, which is why this is a factor. Okay? So since the remainder is 0, x plus 3 is going to be a factor of the polynomial. Okay? And so what we know then is that x cubed plus 6x squared minus x minus 30, my original, I can factor it to be x plus 3, and then what am I left over with? Since this is x cubed, this will now be x squared. X squared plus 3x minus 10. Okay? And then I can factor this further to be x plus 5, x minus 2. And so here it is, x plus 3 here, proven. Give it a second. And then I'm left over with my x plus 5 and then my x minus 2. They're my other factors for this. Okay. So why don't you try check your progress too, and then come check your answer when you're done. Okay, so here you should have gotten that it does work for x minus 2, and then your other factors are x minus 6, x plus 1. If you got that right, you can move on to our last example. If not, here's your explanation. So I use this and set up my synthetic substitution. So it's 1x cubed minus 7x squared plus 4x plus 12. Okay. Since it's x minus 2, that means r equals 2. Drop the 1. 2 times 1 is 2. And the 7 plus 2 is negative 5. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. 4 minus 10 is negative 6. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. Because my remainder is 0, that tells me that x minus 2 is one of the factors, which is why I can then rewrite it, the original polynomial, as x minus 2, and then the depressed polynomial, since it starts with x cubed, it'll now be x squared minus 5x minus 6, which you see here. Then I factor this further to be x minus 6 and x plus 1. Okay. So our last example here, the volume of the rectangular prism is given by v of x equals x cubed plus 3x squared minus 36x plus 32. Okay. We're told here that one of the dimensions or one of the measures here is x minus 4. We're going to find the missing ones. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our synthetic substitution. So 1x cubed plus 3x squared minus 36x plus 32. And we know that x minus 4 is one of the factors. So here we're going to put a 4. Okay. Then I'm going to drop my 1. 4 times 1 is 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. 4 times 7 is 28. Negative 36 plus 28 is negative 8. And then 4 times negative 8 is negative 32. 32 minus 32 is 0, which is a remainder here. So then this becomes, since it was x cubed, this is now 1x squared plus 7x minus 8. And this factors to be x plus 8 and x minus 1. And so one of them will be x plus 8 and the other one will be x minus 1. And so those are my missing measures. So why don't you try CYP3, and once you're done, check your answers. So I think we're still using the same one. We're still using the picture where it's x minus 4 here. Okay, sorry about that. It didn't tell you one of them, so I will give you one of the dimensions. One of the dimensions is x minus 2, because that was a bad example that we did. Okay, so why don't you, I'll give you one of the dimensions of the prism, it's x minus 2, and then you figure out the other one. Okay, so with that knowledge, you should have x plus 3 and x plus 6 as your other missing dimensions. Okay. Yeah, the book wasn't very clear. They wanted you to kind of guess all of them, but since we haven't learned that yet, that's a little bit later. I gave you one of them. So with x minus 2, use 2 here, and then it's 1x cubed, 7x squared. There's no x to the power of 1, and then minus 36. Drop the 1 times 2. Add it, becomes 9, times 2, 18, add it, still 18, times 2, 36, negative 36 plus 36 is 0. My depressed polynomial then will be x squared plus 9x plus 18. When I factor it, it's x plus 3 and x plus 6. Okay? So that's it for today. Have a great rest of the day. Bye, guys.